Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy that you came, and hopefully this information that I'll share with you, this story today, it's gonna help you somehow. So the story today is about my birth. Um, from some of the previous videos you might know that I had a C-section, which definitely wouldn't be my first choice. So um, back to when I was pregnant. It was in 2016, and I hired a professional midwife with her apprentice, and they were wonderful. Nicole Morales and her friend Marley Ivers. They are amazing. I love them so much. They're amazing professionals and like such a caring women. And I hired them as soon as I came back from Czech Republic, which was uh, the spring of 2016. No, it was earlier actually. It was January. And I was, I don't know how many weeks pregnant, probably like 15 or something when I hired them. And I was meeting up with them every month. Then it was coming closer to my birth. It was every 2 weeks, and then it was every week. When I was about, everything went well, pretty much. It was pretty easy pregnancy, no problems. What I really loved about working with Nicole and Marley was that they had so much time for us. They were always giving us so many good questions to think about and to ask ourselves. They're not usually like answering questions for us. They were mainly trying to, recommend things or just like point out certain things that we might not think about. And when I was about 33 weeks, we found out that my baby is breached. Guess what? Nicole is really very enthusiastic and very kind of like focused on breached babies and how to spin them and like all that. But our first attempt to turn the baby didn't turn out well. I mean, like, it just didn't work. And so I started like going to chiropractor, and I was just like doing all these like spinning babies exercises to try to turn the baby or make a bigger space basically in my womb. What you may have heard before is that with the second or third pregnancy, it's usually way easier to turn a baby if it's in the incorrect position for the birth, because there's just more space. For the first pregnancy, it can be just more challenging. The percentage of the success of turning is about 50%, 52%, so it can be one or another. And since my baby was already measuring pretty big, it just didn't work out the first time. And so I did all the spiel of just like trying to turn the baby, and then we did the second trial of trying to turn the baby. It didn't work out either. And I gave it a go again for the third time, and when it didn't work out, I just knew that the baby doesn't want to turn. That's it. So what was I facing? Instead of, going into natural home birth that I was planning, of course, the kids are always changing our plans. It was about, almost the end of, or yeah, probably like half of the June 2016, when I just realized that this is not gonna be my path. I really searched deep inside if it's the right choice for me not to even try the home birth, and I just felt like no, that's just not an option for me. So I went with the Western medicine, and I just trust their ability to do really good job with doing the right decision, and like making sure that me and the baby are gonna be safe and okay, and we're gonna survive the C-section birth. It's still a big operation. Don't get me wrong. It just would not be my first choice if possible. But I just knew that it's gonna go well, and I just felt this need to go into labor on my own. So I planned the C-section because they wanted to plan the C-section. So I planned it for like a week week and a half past my due date. And I was kind of like feeling and hoping that my body and my baby will know better and they're gonna go into the labor before the due date, that I mean the scheduled date for C-section. And that happened. My friend who was supposed to be my doula, she was actually staying with us that 2 days, and the second day of the day of the birth, it was July 14th, 2016. I was telling her in the morning, like, dude, I'm so ready to have this baby. My belly was giant. It was like 51 inches, which is about 130 centimeters. So it was like giant belly. Everybody was like actually asking me if I'm having twins, which I didn't like those comments. No, never ever comment on size of the woman's belly. It's just not pleasant for anybody, whether it's small or big. They always get concerned. Pregnant ladies are just very sensitive, so don't comment on them, please. And so she just told me to try to go into the deep squat, which I did. I cannot show it to you here, but like it was that deep squat when you just go all the way down, and boom, my bladder just broke. Which is really funny because like first I thought, you've heard so many stories that women sometimes pee themselves when they're so far along, and I was just telling my friend, well, maybe I just peed myself, and she's like, no, your water just broke. She has triplets. And so I was just like, okay. So I went to the bathroom and I took care of the situation, and it was such a beautiful, you know, smell. Like, I don't know if you ever had a chance to smell the amniotic fluid from the belly. It's just such a beautiful, if it's not, you know, contained with some poop, or like if it's not dirty and like there is some infection, it's actually naturally very pleasant, sweet smell. And that's how your baby smells after the birth, if it, you know, if there's everything okay. So I knew that everything is okay. I called my midwife anyways, and she, you know, she just like checked me and she's like, yeah, everything on. She didn't actually examine me because she was just like, you know what, as long as you're not even having contractions, we don't need to do the examination internally because we don't want to get any infection in there. So she checked on me, everything went well, and I just waited for my husband to come home from work. He came from work about 4 o'clock. My midwife was already there again. She was checking on me. She said that, you know, I'm probably dilated about 2 centimeters, which is nothing. And my contractions really didn't start at that point, pretty much anyways. But we just decided that we're gonna go to the hospital right after the shift changes. You know, because we're like, well, you know, if we come there around 6, they're gonna be just finishing the shift. They're just gonna be like, it's gonna be all chaotic. They'll be trying to, you know, give each other the paperwork and stuff. So we're like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna come after everything switches, and it's gonna be just more peaceful. And okay, which was, and it was basically my main focus was that the birth will be in as much peace and just kind of like very stress-free experience and environment, which was, at the end of the day, I focused on 3 main things that were really important for me. I was, who is gonna do my IV? That's really important for me because my veins don't show that easily, and I didn't want anybody who is not skilled to take blood or, you know, put the IV in to try it several times, because I knew that it's gonna be in my hand for many hours. The second one was, who's gonna give me the spinal anesthesia. I didn't want anybody to try on me something either. I wanted professionals, and I want people who are very skilled at it, because it's your spine. I don't want anybody to mess up my spine. And the third important part for me was that I'm gonna do skin to skin if everything is okay with me and the baby. And of course there were like another requirements, which actually all pretty much almost happened. We wanted our music to be played there. We wanted to see the birth, which didn't happen because there was like a quick switch of the anesthesiologist, and she didn't know to put to drop down the curtain. And she also announced the sex of the baby, which we didn't know. My husband was pretty upset because he wanted to announce the sex, but whatever, you cannot have everything that you ask for if it's a C-section and it's not natural birth. I'm just very grateful that they, as soon as they, you know, clean the baby and cut the cord, and oh, they actually waited also 45 seconds, which is as long as they are willing to wait when it's C-section. So they cut a cord after 45 seconds. And then they gave him to me on my chest, and I had him pretty much the whole time when they were stitching me up. They just put him in a little, like a, you know, the card or whatever when they transferred us into the after operation room. And that was the only time when I didn't have him on me. He was with my husband though, so it was all good. And then right after they just moved us there, they put him back on me, and he was on me pretty much the whole time when we're in the hospital. He was either on me or on my husband, like 90% of the time. He was getting very good results. And so they actually let us go after 3 days, which I was really grateful because I just didn't have much sleep and didn't have much rest because they're checking on you all the time when you're at the hospital. So I was just very grateful that everything went well. Everything was very smooth, easy, no problem. And I believe that it was because I just made peace with that decision and that choice. I knew that that's what's gonna happen, and I'm just not gonna be forcing something, that I'm gonna go with the flow. And I think that that's pretty much the most important experience when it comes to, you know, big thing like a big experience like birth, because during the birth you just don't have much control what's happening, because there is not just you involved. And the less resistance we create, the better the experience it's gonna turn out. Whether it's a C-section or whether it's a home birth or whether it's you know, hospital natural birth, it's just up to us to relax and to go with what's happening. Of course, like, you know, if you have some ideas, what you want, what is important for you, write it down so you have, you know, some list. But be prepared to let go of some expectations, some ideas that might not even work, that might not be even safe in the moment, and just try to be as, you know, open to the experience, because it can be 1 or 2 or 3 times in lifetime experience, and you don't want to have like really horrible and nasty experience, which I've heard from so many people, and I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm really grateful that, you know, I had such a good experience, but I really believe that it was mainly the reaction of who I am, how I feel, how I am, and how I made peace with the fact that I don't have control over what's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen, pretty much, and that I just didn't create resistance that would just create some unpleasant experience for myself. So I'm super grateful for this experience of very peaceful, they call it gentle C-section, that I had. And I'm grateful that I'm healthy and everything healed. You know, my belly healed as well, and my baby is healthy and everything's fine. He was 5.5 kilos, which is 12 pounds. It was a giant baby. It's one of the biggest baby in the hospital of the year, like second baby. So it was just, it would be too much. Thank you for staying tuned. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe down below, and stay tuned for another stories or videos that I'm posting. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you got what you came for here.